Hi. So I've been on a 9-month hiatus from League, but I tripped on a crunchy autumn leaf and fell on my head, which gave me the bright idea of playing League again, just to find out that Riot Games has released an Akali Chroma that's only obtainable via the premium version of the Premium Worlds Pass, a Jhin and Echo Chroma that each cost around 200 USD, and the best way to get your champion buffed is to boycott it. So I have decided to take in the lessons from this small indie company and not listen to any feedback unless harassed or receiving death threats. Now, Senna Mid, as tank meta is back and Riot removing the ability for a jungler with some experience in RTS camera movement to snowball and end the game by 15 minutes, combined with the ADC changes from a while ago that made most of them completely useless until 3 items, I have decided that this would be the best time to whip out Senna Mid. For the ones who know what Senna does, or even worse, mains Senna, and tell me what particular stat her abilities scales the best with, that's right, cooldown reduction. And here's why, starting with Senna's passive, part 1, Absolution. Stuff that die around 2000 units of Senna have a chance of dropping missiles. This part of the passive is a complete noob trap and should be completely disregarded after patch 12.11, where Riot increases missile drop rate by 300% from what it used to be. Now, as Light is a world-class ADC, I can only assume that he, just like the Shy, was also paid off to be an actor for Game 1 by some unknown third party. Senna passive part 2, Pure Depression. Landing auto attacks or abilities on an enemy will cause them to become depressed, as shown with this visual indicator. Landing another auto attack or ability on an already depressed enemy will cause you to deal additional damage based on their current health, allowing you to chunk the enemy down at level 1. This is what makes Senna functional when running Senna TK, or just playing Senna in general. Senna passive part 3, BBC. On top of being ranked number 7 for the hub, Senna's big black cannon also makes her auto attack slower, but gives her a movement speed boost and hits a little harder as it has the normal 100% total AD ratio plus another 20% bonus AD ratio. Senna Q, it is broken. Senna W, it's broken. Senna E, it's bugged. Senna R. Now, as Senna is a spell slinger, her attack damage and ability power is only as useful as her total combined ratio per 10 seconds, as a normal teamfight lasts no longer than 10 seconds. So what if instead of only casting W once for 70% bonus AD ratio, you cast it 3 times in 10 seconds for a total of 210% bonus AD ratio? Now, Senna, having decently high ratios along with a passive that gives her free AD and range, making her cooldowns the only limiting factor. Anyways, I can only assume that Riot Games, instead of laying off staff in fear of the massive severance they're gonna have to pay, they've started just lacing the water in their office building with crack, cocaine, meth, and possibly fentanyl. As the changes to Dorians items are so nuts that you can completely forgo Flash. Instead, take Ghost, as it works just as well when attempting to survive ganks, chase people down, and heading back to lane. Combined with its lower cooldown relative to Flash, you can trade your Ghost for the enemy's Flash, then have a window to Ghost in again before the Flash is back up, allowing you to int twice per Flash, increasing the chances of you getting a 30-day vacation by 2.7777%. Don't forget TP, as you're playing Senna, and your entire goal is to reach 130 stacks, 3 items, so you can play. For items, start the game with Doran's Blade, and remember, you're an overtuned champion with single target Fishbones, Phage passive, Mini Jarvan passive, and better Kindred passive as a passive, so run the enemy down lane, and just remember to not tank tower. Then get a Sheen and Warhammer 40k first back, later fuse them together for Essence Reaver, as you'll be spamming Q like a motherfucker. To do that, you'll be picking up Navori Quick Blades. It will also allow you to spam W and E more efficiently, since your passive makes your auto attacks have the second highest AD ratio in the game. Thus, you'll be picking up a Runan's Hurricane to bump up the attacks per second. So, when you math it out, for each unhit event, you'll trigger Q's passive, reducing its cooldown by a flat 1 second, then an additional 15% from Navori Quick Blades, plus an additional 2 seconds from the 2 Hurricane procs, as they too trigger on hit events. Now, with Q itself triggering on hit events, thus, Q itself will refund 5 seconds of the 11-second cooldown, and with you attacking once every 0.854 seconds, you'll drop Q's effective cooldown to an average of 1.15 seconds. And every time that you trigger Navori Quick Blades by auto-attacking or using Q, it will reduce your W cooldown by 15%, thus achieving the ability to cast Ws 3 times per 10 seconds, followed by Ninja Tabbies, or Merc Shreds, or Berserkers, or Swiftness, or Ghost Crawlers, or sell it and buy some fucking socks. Finish the build off with Black Cleaver and Lord Doms to convert the theoretical damage into actual damage by reducing the enemy's resistances. For runes, pick up Lethal Tempo and Approach Velocity. These, combined with Ghost and Passive, should allow you to stick to the enemy better than a tried and true carbon neutral by 2030, best game of the year, Emmy award-winning Gorilla Glue. The rest of the runes are Presence of Mind, Alacrity, Cut Down, government-issued boots that cost around 7 billion in R&D, as it grants plus 10 social credits, plus 10 movement speed, plus 7 blight, plus 2 stamina, and minus 8 to 8 drip.